Afternoon, everybody. Now, before we spring forward into the Battle of Chancellorsville, it's necessary to give you some more background on exactly who Joseph Hooker was and the kind of leader he had been. Now, going back as far as the Battle of Antietam's a few months earlier, he got wounded after heavy fighting in the cornfield, and he went back to Washington. And what did he do? He went immediately to work, telling everybody out there how George McClellan and everybody who served with him were incompetent, they needed to go, and that nobody in the Army was as qualified as him to lead the Army. So basically undermining the chain of command behind Commander-in-Chief's back. And this continued on at Fredericksburg. After everything went to ride down there, he did the exact same thing. He was undermining Burnside at every chance he could. And finally, it got to a point with Burnside where he wrote a strongly worded letter saying to the president that if either Joseph Hooker goes and gets court-martialed for his undermining the chain of command, or I need to go. Lincoln chose to let Burnside go. And when he gave command of the Army of the Potomac to Joseph Hooker in the spring of 1863, he wrote him an interesting letter. He was putting it in my own words. He said, "Okay, you got what you wanted. Everyone around you is gone. You are now in charge. This happened because you basically stabbed everyone around you in the back. And so you need to make good on your word and make good things happen with this army." That was the premise that the Army of the Potomac was being handed over to Joseph Hooker. Now, the problem is he was fighting against both Burnside and McClellan, and now he was over in charge of the whole army. Most of the corps commanders who were, over the divisions in his army, the dozen or so men, they were either McClellan or Burnside's men. First Corps Reynolds, he was the one who was appointed, a good friend of McClellan's. Darius Couch, Second Corps Commander, he went to West Point with McClellan, and it just went on from there. And so most of these men just did not care much for Joseph Hooker for the fact that he got rid of their superior officer by basically stabbing him in the back. Now, what kind of a work environment does it create when the boss stabs everybody else in the back to get where he's at? How much trust do his people have in him? How much confidence do they have in him that he's going to effectively lead them? That was the situation he had going into the Battle of Chancellorsville. So whether he likes it or not, he would shoot himself in the foot, and then at the end of the disaster that was coming, he would blame everyone but himself. So next one coming up is the beginning of the battle. More to come.